Are you overwhelmed by the challenge of personalizing communication for thousands of students? That's where Element 451's AI assistants come in. From nudging prospective students to guiding those already on their journey, AI assistants don't just automate, they write, build, and optimize every step of your digital campaigns. Discover how at element451.com/AI team.
Welcome to Mastering the Next, a cutting-edge podcast that explores the future of graduate, online, and non-traditional education through the lens of AI and technology. I'm your host, Dr. Ray Lutsky, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Element 451. Join me for discussions with some of the thought leaders shaping the future of graduate enrollment management through technology. Mastering the Next is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform that helps institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome to today's episode where we'll explore the evolving landscape of affordable public higher education. I'm joined by Dr. Kathie Fleck, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Ivy Tech Community College, one of the largest community college systems in the United States. We'll discuss innovative strategies for positioning high-quality, accessible education in the public eye and uncover what's next for promoting the value and impact of community colleges in the ever-changing educational ecosystem. Welcome to Mastering the Next, Dr. Fleck.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Appreciate you asking.
Oh, it's our pleasure. What's next for Ivy Tech's outreach to diverse communities statewide, particularly those who may not be aware of the benefits of community college education?
So this is a great question. At Ivy Tech, our mission really is to serve everyone in the state of Indiana. We are particularly positioned to reach those who are underserved by traditional higher ed. We have several different strategies that we use. One is we partner with organizations at the local level. We have 19 campuses throughout the state, which gives us really good localized access to folks. And so we work with local partners, we work with statewide partners and organizations, and we also use paid ads to get information into and in front of specific audiences. And as you know, today we need to use a whole multitude of platforms to do that. So we use everything. We use email, traditional mail, social media, text messaging, we raise awareness. We also work very hard to try to minimize how we communicate about higher ed. And so it's not with a whole lot of higher ed speak. We try to communicate extremely plainly so that we can connect with the folks in the communities where they are in life and show them what they can do here at Ivy Tech.
That use of language is really interesting. And your experience spans government, private industry, higher education. In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges facing community colleges like Ivy Tech today in terms of public perception? I mean, you mentioned language and the way you talk about things as a part of that, but what are the biggest challenges facing community colleges like Ivy Tech?
Well, I would say this is not unique to Ivy Tech, but it is higher ed. And that is in Indiana, like in many other places, we're seeing fewer traditional age students go to higher ed post high school at all. We are particularly seeing fewer males who are choosing to continue education after high school. And so that is a challenge for us as well as others. We are doing really well in that area right now in that they are choosing Ivy Tech. Our enrollment continues to rise, which is unique and positive. I think the concern among the Gen Z generation about debt is real. And so that is a good value proposition that we have at Ivy Tech, in that our tuition is really low. We have a very, very high percentage of students that graduate our institution with no debt. And so that is a good value proposition that we have. But the perception that college, quote, college is very expensive and that debt is a necessity coming out of it is also very daunting to folks. So we are both in we are lumped together with the higher ed, with the 4-year higher ed institutions, but then we're also set apart in that we're not them. And so we have to continue to work with the traditional age students in particular and their parents to better showcase what the value proposition is here at Ivy Tech and community colleges in general. And there are several ways that we can do that. Number one is Ivy Tech offers a lot of hands-on instruction. Now, what does that mean? It means that you're going to be doing book work. You're going to be sitting in a classroom and doing some book work, but you're going to get to put your hands on whatever it is you're doing. If you're in the automotive field, if you're in nursing, if you're in whatever IT, any of those programs, you can get your hands on things much quicker. So we deliver many modes of instruction, from fully online to really high-end laboratory experiences. And so that's one thing that's different. You're going to get in, you're going to get your hands on things a lot quicker. And of course, we have lots of agreements with many of our 4-year partners across the state that are 2 years of an automatic admit or guaranteed admit from Ivy Tech. The other thing that's challenging that is not probably what you would expect is that we're actually in very high demand. So in states like Indiana and some of the other states in the Midwest, we are growing in high-tech businesses. And both those businesses, as well as our partners at the state and in elected office, are looking to us to provide the training and the upskilling for all of those individuals coming in for new battery plants or new chip manufacturers. And so it's a challenge. We are growing and evolving our offerings and our programs as quickly as we can in order to fit the economic development needs that are positively growing in the state. But even so, we're constantly trying to keep up, but we're in very high demand there. So that is, quote, a challenge that you would not necessarily always consider. But then, of course, translating what we're doing there and how we're doing there to recruit students to come into those programs is also something that's on our plate. So there's a lot of there going on in this space right now.
Wow. And that is really interesting. The kind of needs of industry, of competitiveness, of commercial viability of a region, of a state, relying on that training and being able to provide that training to stakeholders and to organizations at a really high level. Yeah, I want to kind of round back on something you just mentioned, kind of rolled up into what you talked about around affordability. Particularly with students today, they kind of view expensive as high quality sometimes and less expensive as not high quality. And I'm curious how you might address that dichotomy, effectively communicating that what you're doing is high quality and affordable. And I'm sure some of your state and industry partners understand that because I know your reputation, they can see the price point. But with students, like traditional age students and their parents, as you mentioned, how do you balance that?
Yeah, having had that experience myself as a parent, I do understand the stress involved with trying to figure out how to make the right decision for your student and what their future looks like and what their dreams are for themselves. I would say a couple of things. We like to think of Ivy Tech and. So it's not Ivy Tech or a 4-year, it's Ivy Tech and a 4-year. And as I mentioned earlier, we have articulation agreements with a whole lot of schools throughout the state, very high quality schools that would not accept students if we didn't have high quality instruction at our level. And so that's one. By fiat and by agreement, we have sort of put that imprimatur on our instruction. Number two, we have lots of community partners and very high-end industry partners who are paying directly. We call that the Achieve Your Degree program, where they are paying directly for college, directly to Ivy Tech. In other words, instead of doing a reimbursement program, they will pay directly to Ivy Tech for their employees to go here. We have a program with Lilly. Eli Lilly, as you know, is a very large employer here in the state of Indiana. And so Eli Lilly is working with us to provide upskilling and training for folks who want to go into the biopharmaceutical manufacturing space. And so companies, high quality companies like that partnering with us also give an outside imprint on us or a tacit stamp of approval on us that also speaks, I think, to those traditional students and to their parents. But we're always going to have to work to earn their trust. The other good thing that we have is we have a very, very large dual enrollment and dual credit program, which means that in the vast majority of the state of Indiana, Ivy Tech is already in the high schools working with those students, and they're taking classes at Ivy Tech. So those students are having experience with us. Those parents are having experience with the kind of material that we provide and the kind of instructions that we provide at Ivy Tech. And so they're getting already credits and experience with us that I think goes a long way to helping them understand just what kind of quality education they will receive here.
That's incredible. It's a multi-pronged approach there. And can you maybe go a little in depth? I love that Lilly example. It's really interesting that you've got these relationships, these initiatives where you're getting tuition benefits basically from corporations so that their employees can go to school. And not only are they debt free, they're not even getting the bill. That's amazing. So what kinds of initiatives have gotten you there? How have you been able to build that success to position yourselves publicly as that leading provider of affordable education? Clearly, it has to do with reputation, but have there been campaigns or anything else that's gone on at the state level to try and secure that?
I would say it's a multi-pronged approach there. So historically, the state of Indiana decided that they wanted to invest heavily in a singly accredited institution. And so they've done so in order to make sure that we had the highest possible quality at the lowest possible price for the citizens of the state to be able to continue their education post high school. So that's a critical investment that allowed Ivy Tech to grow and to be able to provide the high quality programs that we do. From there, it's our job to do that thing and then tell people about that thing. And so we do both of those. We have 70 different programs. One of the things that we do that is I think very practical that helps people sort of understand, or maybe if biting off 4 years all at one time feels like a lot, we have certificates that stack. You can get this kind of certificate, and then those transfer into the next kind of certificate, add a few more classes. Then you can transfer that into maybe your associate's degree, add a few more classes. Then when you're ready, you could roll those over into a bachelor's degree. So it provides a stepping stone approach that I think makes it much easier for folks to be able to contemplate their post-secondary education. 80% of our adult students are parents. And so we also work very closely with that group to be able to provide the resources and the support they need to be able to work, go to school, handle, their family obligations and other things. And so all of that is communicated through a multi-pronged strategy. We are constantly working with the high schools, we're working in the schools with the traditional age. We're working within all of our marketing efforts, all of our programming in order to reach adult students, upskilling, changing skills. They're changing jobs, or their company is becoming more automated and they need to grow their skills. So we're working with the companies to work with the students. Sometimes that's how we get involved. We work with the trades. The trades have a great relationship with this institution. So I guess ultimately relationships, once the state decided they wanted to invest in this system and they wanted this system to be a first class system that they could affordably get folks into, then it was up to us to build the relationships that it took throughout the state with the businesses, with all the other workforce development groups, and then talk directly to the students, potential students and alumni to continue to build the reputation.
Capitalizing on all of those built relationships and understanding amazingly that you have such great relationships with adult working professionals, parents. Are there specific channels when you have to go and actually reach out to the students? When we're talking about adult learners, we're talking about working professionals, maybe those looking for a stackable credential, maybe not a full degree. They just need to upskill in a specific way. Is it digital marketing? Are there specific channels you're using to get to those students? Because clearly you can't just go to a high school and and recruit those kinds of folks, there's got to be another way to reach them. Just curious if you have any tips on that.
Yeah, we invest heavily in both digital and traditional marketing. You can drive down any of the major highway systems and see billboards. We invest in television. Of course, we do a lot of streaming television these days. We have a very large, well-built out website that we believe provides a really good amount of education and information for folks. We're streaming on audio and video. And then, of course, all your digital channels. We really work Google Display. We work Google Search, all of the social media platforms. And we are starting to reach out into social media platforms that we may not have been on in the past in order to try to reach certain students and certain niches of students that where we may have been able to get to them through just traditional general awareness campaigns. Now we're working specifically to try to reach out to them and talk to them on that particular platform. And so, we kind of meld those two, the traditional and the digital, and everything is data driven. We use a great deal of data here to understand where people are, to try to personalize the education for those folks and the experience when they come in. And then, of course, that's the same way with the messaging, to try and give them a personalized message that speaks to them and their interests.
I want to double click on something you just said. It's really interesting. Can you share an example of maybe one of the social media platforms that you're now considering and looking at potentially as a new channel? Just curious.
Sure. So Twitch is one of them. That is not something that typically colleges are on, or typically we would have been on, but we have gone out on Twitch with some specialized campaigns in the rather near past and going forward. And we've gotten some pretty good engagement on that. If you have individuals who are highly interested in gaming and highly interested in technology, it only makes sense for us to be able to show some of our short-term credentials for IT or other technology-based potential opportunities. And we've gotten a good rate of return there. Snapchat has a very discernible audience, and we've done very well there, converting students directly to applications from Snapchat. It's not monstrous, and it's very specific and discernible ages and demographics that are on there, but we're working there. One of the things that we're working on here coming forward, I'll cheat a little bit, is Reddit, is finding specific spaces on Reddit that make sense to us and will make sense to our particular students that we're trying to reach with specific programs that we have. And then, of course, working with social media influencers. We have a very high regarded culinary program that is really the only one in the state like this. And so that is a unique program that is very well regarded. And again, we need to work through specific folks or specific channels to reach people who might have that interest to pursue their post-high school education in the culinary field. So we are really trying to use the data to the best ability that we can and try to meet folks where they are instead of expecting them to come to us, which is what has always happened in the past for higher ed, but we're no longer in that day.
Not the usual suspect, not the answer I was expecting. And I'm really intrigued to see how that works out because it is such a cool, uniquely targeted way of reaching certain populations. From your vantage point, using your crystal ball, what are some of the future ways you see Ivy Tech promoting affordable, high-quality education across the state? Clearly, technology is going to be a part of that. I'm just curious what you see in the future.
Well, I can tell you one very successful thing that we've done for the past few years that I believe will stay, and that is we do a free summer program. So as the name implies, we give all high school students from across the state the ability to take summer courses at Ivy Tech for free. Those credit courses can be in addition to the classes they're already taken for their dual credit, dual enrollment. It can help them complete the Indiana College Core. It could also help them, some of them, complete an entire associate's degree to be able to transfer then into a 4-year much farther ahead than they would normally be. So that particular program was extraordinarily successful. It has been, and it continues to grow. And so we work with them. We work with students in high schools on that. So that's one way. The other way is we do have a foundation, like most institutions, and we have a number of scholarships that they raise money for that help support students in unconventional ways. They cover tuition and instructional costs. That's fairly normal. But they also will cover things like transportation costs, living expenses, and even childcare expenses, so that we can support those adult students who may be working parents in order to give them the opportunity that they need to be able to attend Ivy Tech. So those are underpinning programs that we can use. And of course, our traditional and our ongoing marketing through text and email and all the other things that we've discussed will continue to go through. But we need to be able to sort of wrap around a student and be able to provide what they need in order to make this an affordable option. And obviously the quality is there. We've already established that. We have the quality. We have a great number of adjunct faculty who are working in the field as we speak and bringing that knowledge straight into their classroom when they come teach. And so the high quality of education is already there. We're doing everything we can on the affordability side to entice people to try to take a chance on higher ed.
Wow. Really exciting and great ways to model, I think, for other institutions. And really, thank you so much for sharing all of this. Dr. Kathie Fleck, Vice President for Marketing and Communications at Ivy Tech Community College. We appreciate your time. The Mastering the Next podcast is a part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Artis Cadieux, J.C. Bonilla, Mallory Wilsey, Brendan Henkel, Brian Gross, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.